And we are back for the Telia Esports Series Finland lower finals. Nyyrikki coming in with a strong game one, looking like they got everything they wanted in the draft, playing it out very comfortably. Blue Whites need to find something else, need to find another strategy because game one they did not look like themselves.
No, Bluewhites was really struggling. I'm going to say their draft was not something I personally enjoyed. I'm mostly talking about the bot lane, but also the indecisiveness they sometimes had in these fights. Compare that to okay, you have LeBlanc, great, perfect champ to roam, but you put her topside. So there are other ways of dealing that. I think during the break, Trajan, we said Nyyrikki, great, keep everything you have. Bluewhites back to the drawing board.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and if Nyyrikki are allowed to get all of that again, I will be looking at the bans very closely for Blue Whites. I think if they are going to ban Desmond Aphelios, you can't let Azator get his Callista. You know, these picks are just too good for these individual players. And at the very least, maybe not the Vayne this time, but let's see
No.
what they choose to go with as we are kicking off the pick and ban once again. And Nyyrikki do seem to be keeping things pretty much the same as I would expect. The Lulu off the table. Last time it was the Aphelios on the Thresh. We'll see if it's the same again.
This is a little bit of a throwback to I want to say 8 months ago, or and then 2 years ago once again, because Kaisa is not in the spot she used to be. Thank you, Riot. You
Yeah.
have more options in the bot lane now. You have something like a Varus. You have all these other champions which you can possibly pick, you can
Yeah.
possibly pair or play against something like a Callista.
Yeah, and you know what? More options. They can't play the Callista or the Xinjiao. Flipper's not going to get
Ooh.
the useful anymore, so we are going to have to see something new from Nyyrikki. Now, this does leave up things like the Ziggs, which have been very prioritized, and would you look at that? There's the first pick for Nyyrikki.
As Ziggs is being picked immediately. Now, Blue Whites has the potential to pick two strong champions here. Picking Aurelia would be great. You still have the Silas left open. But I think you might actually want to make sure that you have those power picks in right now. Or do you have a counter prepared against the Ziggs? Because Blue White knows, okay, if we ban the Kalista, we ban the Xinjiao, there needs to be a counter. Is it the Sivir, though?
Yeah, the wave clear at least can be matched at that point. Maybe in the lane, you know, I'm not sure. I think not Callista, Sivir is now pretty much back in the crit build house. The lethality build isn't really seen as much, but you know, the Boomerang Blade is still very, very strong at the early level, so maybe you can kind of contest Ziggs at that long range that he loves to play at.
And what I do like is you have the Sivir and you pair it with the Gwen. Gwen is a champion if she can really get into that front line, or if she has that extra movement speed buff. That's great for her because you and have the dash. I mean, we all know how Gwen works at this point, so pairing with the Kalista ultimate is great. Now Nyyrikki taking away that Aurelia, that's a smart move. You do not want Bad Pie potentially on that Aurelia once again.
Yeah, Bad Pie almost took the game in its hands in game one and brought it all the way back with that those big plays in the late game. But Nyyrikki going to snap up that pick this time. They're going to take the Graves as well, which has come back into popularity both in the jungle and sneaking into the solo lanes at times as well.
Ooh, the Fiora lock-in. This is interesting because Fiora is sort of a described counter, even though it's very much still a skill matchup against the Gwen. So you're kind of showing, okay, we definitely want this Gwen online, and we definitely can actually play a 1-3-1 comp because you have both. You have two of the best split pushers right now in the game. It is the Gwen with the Fiora, and it is something that both of these can actually deal with in Aurelia. So I like what Blue Whites is doing here, but they might lack CC, and they might lack a lot of CC and engage.
Certainly might. As we get into the second round of bans, and the Yumi actually hitting the ban pile, interestingly. They don't want to see the Sivir Yumi this game from Nyyrikki, but what I do want to see from Blue Whites, they opted back into red side again. I want to see them make better use of the R5 pick. Last time it was the Vayne, they kind of countered themselves, it fell a little flat, but now they have an opportunity potentially for a support counter pick. You know, maybe they can get themselves a better setup in the bot lane, and that could be with an engaged heavy champion.
One thing I also see emerging from Nyyrikki is you have the Ziggs and you have the Graves. Aurelia is something in between right now, but two strong picks in that early to mid game. So two picks that can actually make sure we have that dominance that we scale into objectives. What does Blue White have to counter that? As of right now, nothing. They don't have anything where they can say, "Hey, look, this is good to catch up in the mid game. This is good to make sure our early game is at least doable." And with the Cassiopeia, that's not something that fits in there.
It's no, it's kind of another scaler. It's another sit back. It's more disengaged. It's And it maybe seems almost a little disconnected from the Gwen and the Fiora. You know, they're going in deep, they're dipping and diving, and Cassiopeia and Sivir are both way in the back. So something I feel needs to kind of connect them in the middle. We need some missing link to make this comp really come together.
Yeah, we have 4 pieces of the puzzle, but the final jigsaw just isn't there. I'm really looking forward to what the R5 on Blue White is going to be. It there's so
What
many
champion
options. Yeah, what
does
champions?
it needs to fill so many holes now that, you know, what can just fit all of these picks? It's and pair with a Sivir in lane. It's very
Yeah,
tough.
it's something, and you need engage, and you need disengage, and you possibly need tankiness. Also, healing wouldn't be a bad thing. There's
Yeah.
so many boxes you need to tick. It might be one of the new champions Riot is going to release that they pick right now, but as we all know, that is not playable. So Blue Whites, I'm fearful
Yeah.
for them. What they do is take what Nyyrikki does though is they have the Leona, which is great by the way, because Leona it shuts down so much what Blue Whites want to do with this comp.
Yeah, it's a great pickup for Abagnale right there. Once again, with engage options there and pairing up with the Ziggs, you've got a lot of AoE potential. And the final
Oh.
pick for Blue Whites is the Gragas. Now, I definitely wasn't thinking of this right here, so that's going to be... It has engage, we do see that. It has some AP damage and maybe disengage as well, but, you know, how do you feel about this final pick?
It's a weird one. I like it in the Ziggs Trundle lane. I think, yeah, it might do well because as soon as you hit level 6, Gragas, you have a potential to make sure, okay, we can get onto the Ziggs. It also pairs well with the Sivir. But looking at the total picture, it is a little bit disconnected once again. It is not something I was expecting. Now, Blue Whites might do great on this Gragas pick, but it's very much a pick composition and the 1-3-1 comp that Blue Whites has drafted, which is something that doesn't really synergize well with each other. So either they go full balls to the wall, everything goes well for us, or it's everything is kind of falling apart.
Yeah, it could just completely pop off. You know, the Fiora is banned away quite a lot against the Blue Whites. Maybe Bad Pie can show us why that is. And something else that I really do enjoy for Blue Whites is that Lastus is back on a carry champion. The Trundle was there as like the silver bullet to the Xin Zhao, and Lastus just never really got his foot in the door, ended up going down very far in that game. But now he's stepping back up into a primary role. He's on the Gwen, he can do huge damage in teamfights, he can be a pivotal member of the team.
Something I also enjoy seeing here from Nyyrikki is making sure, okay, we had that flex potential for Graves. Graves is a solo laner at the moment. One thing that it really makes him strong in the solo lane is if you level your E, if you level the dash, those true grit stacks give you so much armor. I think there's a way where at level 5 you can have 180 armor. Even though Fiora does true damage, that's still a lot to deal with.
That's a bit
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that is a bit too much to handle right there. Yeah, we'll see how Bad Boy deals with that for sure. Did have a decent game one, as we say, and was very much a carry threat. That time now, and the Fiora can maybe do the same, but it's perhaps not a matchup that you're that familiar with as well. You know, no one's that experienced dealing with Graves top lane at this point.
One of the things with Graves top lane right now, especially against the Fiora, is Fiora is a mobile champion. Graves cares less that you are a mobile champion because you have your own dash, you have your smoke screen, and potentially you have your end of the line with the Q where you can just say, okay, you want to dash into me? Fine, I wall hug for that last trick of the ultimate. If you really want to proc it, I just throw the Q in the wall and procs immediately. So it can do well. One disadvantage, one downside with the Graves top, it doesn't scale well into the Fiora. After a while, Fiora just doesn't really care anymore that you have a Graves.
Yeah, probably can just start running it down without too much problem. But for Lastus as well in the jungle here, Flipper ended up, the Xin was taken away finally, and he just took the counter himself. He took the Trundle and said, all right, everyone wants to use this to ruin my day, well, I'm going to use it to ruin yours. Takes the Trundle. Is this actually going to be a problem for Gwen in the early jungle, or is Lastus still going to be fairly comfortable?
I'm not 100% sure. I imagine Gwen still does well in the jungle, but what Gwen does need is she needs some levels. I want to say as soon as she hits level 4 and she has a little bit of attack speed, then that's the time when she can pair up against a Trundle. Before that, I'm gonna give the edge to Trundle.
Sure, we do have a bit of a top play coming in
Ooh.
for Blue Whites. They're going to find Bertosco is going to slip over the wall with the quick draw without any trouble. And the rest of Blue Whites are there. Hasn't spotted them yet, though, so they could still go for a secondary play. They're coming into the jungle. They will be spotted now on the vision. and the rest of Nyyrikki just sitting controlling that bottom side. So no kills achieved for Bluewhites, but maybe just putting a bit of the fear in him early.
And I could see, so Patoshka saw, oh, there's a ward being put down. He does the first auto attack, and then you realize, oh, I'm Graves. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm never
right.
getting this ward
There's no
down.
point.
Yeah, there's just no point.
Unfortunately, Graves, garbage champion, can't even clear wards. So why would you know, what's even the point? But the rest of Nyyrikki have arrived on this bottom side. They're going to be starting there. Wazen in the mid lane just as fine. So we have a Raisin on the Aurelia versus the Pomo Cassiopeia. Last time we saw Bad Pie doing a great job in the mid lane with that pick. But now, oh, they're swapping again. Okay, well, sure.
I mean, I get it. It's not actually a bad swap because Fiora has roaming potential, and you do take away the true grid part of Patoshka's kit. So, yes, I can see it working. I can also see it fail because Bad Pie. This is very, very much a skill matchup, Bad Pie Wazen. And if one of these two, which you're already trying, gets first blood, that's a snowball lane if I ever saw one.
Yeah, Wazen super comfortable on these mechanical champions. This guy always plays to win lane, and Bad Pie's going to have a tough challenge on his hands. Pomo, though, at least can, you know, just outrange Batoshka up there, and is probably going to have a pretty decent time of it, though pretty vulnerable to the ganks. We'll have to see if Flipper can maybe exploit the Cassio in the long lane.
Yeah, Wazen, he really cannot take these trades, or really cannot take these minions right now, and if Bad Pie just pushes him out, he can actually go for a deep ward later on. And that brings it together with Lastis as well, because don't forget, yes, I mean, Blue-White's bot lane is playing up against the Ziggs, but if you can push that lane in with the Sivir, you can actually make sure that Lastis has a great jungle opportunity.
Yeah, he's now going towards this top side. Pomo has a ward in the river there, and you know this isn't the LeBlanc from game one. This is not safe. You do not have any options. Comes through Flipper now, does probably have that pillar out, comes the miasma, and now Pomo will have to drop the flash. Surely, if he even thinks it's worth it, drops it there, last at the very second, but the first blood again picked up by Nyyrikki. Flipper punishing top.
I kind of feel that the swap is once again biting Blue Wolves in the butt, purely because the reason you have Cassiopeia in mid so often, well, besides that she's a mage obviously, is because she enjoys these short lanes in the laning phase. Snakes don't need no boots, meaning you can't really buy these boots. You need a short lane for your own safety. You're not level 6, and Nyyrikki just recognizes this and says, okay, sure, we gank top, fine, we get that first blood.
Yeah, they will get it, and Flipper's right back there again. Now Pomo without the flash has to be so safe, and will be able to find more Lastis into that mid lane, preventing the recall from Wazen. Maybe looking for more off the snips, but can't find it. Bad Pie gonna be nice and comfortable finishing that. Pomo desperately wants to crash this wave, but I think he knows that if Flipper is there, it's all over.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Pomo. Pomo, I don't know if he was spotted just yet. It's so risky though. But Flipper was spotted by the ward.
Yeah. Okay, Flipper's spending a lot of time here, but Pomo steps up again, and now he's surely been caught out. This is another death for the Cassiopeia. Was playing it on the line for so long, but still gives it up. It's going from bad to worse up there for Blue-Whites. He was there so long, and I feel like Pomo just almost had it right. You know that Flipper was up there, and they even had the vision, right? Maybe just assumed he was going to walk away, and this flip onto the top side is really, really struggling for Pomo. But right now, let's see if Blue-Whites can find something elsewhere. Last game it was bot lane having the trouble, but Desrim and Deferin do seem to be doing a pretty decent job. But, you know, they have got the wave clear right now. Deferin actually in this mid lane as well. Wazen commits forward. Doesn't get stunned up though. Wazen with the flash from Deferin. There's no body slam, but I think this will still be enough for Bad Pie to pick up that kill in mid lane. And now something's going right for Blue-Whites in this game. We have, unfortunately, lost contact with Exodus. We might see him return before too long. We do know there is a storm where he is forecast right now, so hopefully he is still doing just fine, but we'll maybe get him back in later if he is alive. For now, I will take the solo reigns for Blue-Whites, trying to bring this series back, trying to prove that they should be counted among the elite of the Finnish teams. It's not just Nyyrikki, it's not just Kova. Death Fox have always been up there in second place as well, and Bluewhites now with their best placing of their team's history so far. They finally made it into top 3, and now they are fighting for that final position to get into the grand finals. We have had it confirmed that Exodus did have a power outage in his street, so unfortunately the Storm has taken him down. Volibear ganking Exodus at his own house. Pretty rude if you ask me. But let's keep a track of this game right now. Nyyrikki still slightly ahead. They've got a 500 goal lead because they did get that first blood, and Pomo is now pretty down in this top lane. It's very tough for the Cassiopeia. Deferin actually maybe looking to escort him there to try and keep him topped up, try and keep him safe, which I think is what you need to do. You cannot let this Graves get too far out of hand. You know, he's going for the Story to Dirk. You can see there it's going to be a lot of mid-game damage coming out of this Graves for Potoska, and that is where Graves thrives when you put him in that solo lane. So Bluewhites, they don't want to get taken advantage of here. Lastus and Deferin might look to contest Flipper here, and Bad Pie's coming up. Leona, though, for Abignalia is there. I think we've got a fight on our hands right here. Skip and slash over for Lastus. Oh my goodness, everyone is suddenly there with the stun, and Bad Pie's dropped so low. A Bake Miasma from Pomo will come through, but the Vanguard's Edge leaves Wazen free to just jump around over the fight. Comes back in, Desmond has arrived. Lastus trying to finish Potoska but can't find it. They have managed to kill Wazen though. Pomo the benefactor there. Abigail takes a lot of damage from Desmond. The Boomerang Blades, very strong at early levels. The final Q, can he find the E? One more Boomerang Blade. Abigail goes in for the stun but cannot find it. A flash from Desmond keeps him alive. There's the Petrifying Gaze from Pomo, and it's a shutdown for Cassiopeia. Flipper trying desperately to make it work, but it's another kill for Bluewhites. What a mess in that top lane jungle, but I think Bluewhites come out happier. Meanwhile, Azator with the AirPods in bot lane just farming away as the Ziggs. And to be honest, that's not even that bad. Mans gets 2 plates in the bot side, got the CS lead, gonna have a fat stacks in his inventory as he gets this back coming through, and getting that tower down is what Ziggs wants to do. He wants to destroy the structures, keep the gold snowballing for Nyyrikki, as now Bluewhites just had a pretty big injection there. Pomo right back into this game with 3 kills on deck, and that is exactly what Bluewhites needed to stabilize this game. But Bad Pie back in the mid lane, and Abignalia is here once again as well. They do seem to be happy just leaving Azator to his own devices in that bottom side, and maybe trying to get the rest of the map under control. Wazen did get a bit of gold in that fight as well. You can see the items still fairly even, but Bad Pie has been getting somewhat of the better of the lane trades up till now in this Fiora Aurelia matchup now. He does seem very confident. Bad Pie Fiora is a force of nature. We know this, we've seen this. It's a band away from him so many times, and we're finding out why. You know, he's really getting a lot of work done so far in this tricky matchup for the Bluewhites. No dragons attempted just yet. Deferin having a wee scope out onto the Cloud Drake right there. Last time it was the Infernal Rift that, of course, was pretty important to get Nyyrikki over the line, I feel. But Azator and Desrim still trading in the bot side. It's a lot of control for Bluewhites in the bot side, and if they want to take this dragon, I imagine they would be fairly uncontested. Flipper knows this, is going onto the Herald instead, clearing out the vision. So it's going to be a simple objective trade across the map for Bluewhites. Maybe looking for a play onto bot side. You can see that Azator is playing around this very well. He knows something is up, but he has gone back to his tower. Now out comes Deferin in the bot side, what trades in the mid lane as well. Oh, look at the damage from Gragas. The AP Gragas with the Ignite is just solo killing him. That is so clean from Deferin. The supportive champions, though, more, and the explosive cast off the level up with the Boomerang Blade. Abigail, can he get away? One more hit from Desrim. Oh, the stasis from Abigail. One more Boomerang Blade will still not be denied. And Desrim and Deferin find on the bot side. This is a very different story from game 1. Pomo now, with his wave, his tower getting assaulted by the Herald of the Cassio with the Miasma. TP coming in from Azator, trying to keep them alive, but it stops the charge coming down. I don't know if that was a good idea. Pomo gets back under tower now, and Bad Pie trying to get the kills with the ult onto Flipper. Shutdown comes through. Pomo falling to Azator. Bad Pie, he's got the 1 versus 3 to do. Can he do it all? He didn't get the ult charges, and Potoska trying to finish him off. The heals coming through aren't enough. Lastus now in the 1 versus 3, taking his shot at glory, but is it just going to be defeat? Deferin flying in with the body slam, and it's another joining the party as Wazen comes to clean up the mess. Nyyrikki, this time they take the win in the absolute shenanigans up in the top side of the map. but they had the Herald, they got the tower, they've got 3,000 gold in their pocket now for the benefit of this, with Azator. Well, the turret destruction, it's everything you needed, and Blue-Whites are going to have to try and make the best of it. A TP from Bad Pie might be how they do that. Azator has no way to escape. It's a shutdown for the Fiora. Pomo not going to catch Flipper, and it's a consolation prize once again, but Blue-Whites, they've got to stabilize somehow. Desrim now back in bot lane duty, is clearing out the way. Potoska now has been pushed down there, has the Eclipse done for this Grave. So it's a bit of a spike, 3-1 and 5 right now. It's another good game for Potoska, and we saw how important Potoska's Akali was in that first fight. We are going to go to a quick replay of this top fight. You can see Pomo, he wants to try and stop this, but there's not quite the support yet for Bad Pie. Then the TP comes in from Azator. It delays the tower going down, but that Ziggs damage is so important. See the pillar coming out of Flipper there as well, stops Pomo following up, and Bad Pie needs to get these ult charges, needs to get the lunges out, but all of a sudden, he doesn't have the support, doesn't feel comfortable going for the final 2 vitals, and then he can't get the healing. That's when the Fiora team fight falls apart, and Lastis is in too late. Deferin tries his best to come in with the hero play, but it's still a support Gragas. You know, you can 1v1 a Ziggs in bot lane, sure, but you can't just take down a Trundle. You can't take down a Graves with the grit stacks on. It's a great attempt by Deferin, but the fight is just too lost, and the members of Blue-Whites trickling in one by one end up making them lose a lot more than if they just cut their losses before. Yes, Bad Pie gets the TP in to find a kill onto Azator, but it's really not enough, and they're gonna have to play from behind for a little while. But it is very much bad Blue-Whites game to try and bring back right here. Nyyrikki in the driver's seat once again, but it doesn't feel as conclusive as game 1. But they kind of have better scaling in some ways. They've got Azator on the Ziggs, who does scale up better, not as effective in the team fights. Their mid game, I think, is actually not as good as last game. They don't have the Xinjiao. They don't have the Kalista. They don't have the Rakan with that engaged combo. Blue-Whites can try and kite back. They don't have engage of their own, really. But what they do have is disengage. They've got the Petrify engage, they've got Explosive Cast, Desmond with the Spell Shields, Bad Pie with the Riposts. They can get out of trouble if it comes through, and they might be able to look to start some trouble of their own. Force the flash and Flipper, and he will escape with his life, but it's still aggressive plays being made by Blue-Whites. They are not ready to just concede and go into the full disengage mode just yet. Azator is up by this tower, trying to get it into satchel charge range, will not find it just yet. And Blue-Whites, they see Abagnale, they don't feel comfortable to force this fight. Maybe they want it, but I don't think they're in a good enough position to take it. As Azator now returns to the push. Did use the satchel charge for poke right there. It's a decently long cooldown, trying to punish Deferin, but the game has slowed down somewhat once again. Blue-Whites maybe looking for plays, but not confident enough to go for anything crazy. Nyyrikki know that with the game in their favor, the pressure is now off them. They can play around the Ziggs objective control. Flipper has healed up. He's back in the bot lane, and they might try and get this final push. If they can unlock Azator into the mid lane, then with Wazen and Potoska in the side lanes, it becomes very hard for Blue-Whites to deal with that, and now they're going for the play. Stepping up, they get the kill onto Desmond. Abagnale goes for the engage, but it's flashed away by the Sivir. Ult comes down, gets so much damage to the Ignite. It is going to be the kill, and there's, oh my goodness, Desmond's fallen. They're going to get the tower too. Pomo gets the TP off at least, because the satchel charge was used in that fight, and they can't get the tower just yet, but as soon as Azator gets that cooldown back, he's going to find it. Abagnale slides in, gets the kill, or rather falls down, but now Potoska is in with the shotgun, blasting away, has found one onto Pomo. Wazen grabs the next onto Deferin, and Nyyrikki, they get the turret, they win another fight. As soon as the gold gets in their favor, this team just lights up. And the train does not stop here. Bad Pie desperately trying to mount a 1v3 defense onto Wazen, Azator, and Flipper. Desmond has arrived to clear out that wave, but there's the satchel charge. There's another turret down. Now it's just a 2v3. Bad Pie, does he still want to go for it? Drops the grand challenge. He needs to get those vitals procs, though. Once again, finds one, finds two, finds three, finds four. There's the healing bit. Is enough to keep him alive. He has to flash away. Wazen is there. Lunges to safety. A smoke scene from Atoska. He can't find the kill. And Bad Pie will escape this time, but he lost all his summoners. He lost the flash, he lost the ult, and now the dragon is still Nyyrikki's. We have hit the 14-minute mark, and we're still only taking the second dragon right now. It could be another Infernal. It's actually the Mountain Rift that we see again here today. So Nyyrikki, they're not going to be that upset with that at all. Bluewhites are so damage heavy without frontline, they've now got the burst shield. If they can find those mountain souls, if they can keep control of the game and get that objective, that shield could be pivotal. I mean, Potoska, he's going to be stacking up the stats from Grit already, right? He's going to get that armor building up. Abignale, of course, is going to be doing so. Flipper might be able to itemize into resistances now to make better use of the mountain drakes. Really, Nyyrikki are not too unhappy with this. But it is now a 5,000 gold lead for Nyyrikki. 4 towers in their favor, 1 dragon apiece, and a lot of gold in their side of the field. You can see the item disparity really starting to open up here. You've got 1.5 items at least on so many members. Bertoshka is getting very close to that Lord Dominic's as well and is going to keep on snowballing. Whereas, look at Bluewhites. They still have to get their Mythic onto Desrim. Only has the unstacked Mana Moon so far. Just a Mythic, not much more completed for the top and mid and junglers of Bluewhites. Nyyrikki with so much more power in their inventory. Sometimes the fights, maybe you can just start forcing them through. Maybe it's not an option of skill or draft matchup anymore. You can just start to hit them with your wallet, as it were. They're currently picking up the second Rift Herald, and with 4 towers down, if they get the right fight, they could use this Rift Herald to start cracking the base. Bluewhites cannot afford to lose another big engagement. Bad Pie's been slowed by the turret. Abignale doesn't find the Zenith Blade, and no more will be had just there, but it's very dangerous for Bluewhites at every turn right now. This is their last chance to keep their playoff dreams alive. They're 1 down against Nyyrikki. Bluewhites have tried so hard to be here. If they could just surmount the Nyyrikki obstacle, they had a 2-0 record over Death Fox in the season. You know, historically speaking, they are favored into the Death Fox matchup, and they could be set up to get their first ever Telia Esports Series first place and really cement themselves as one of the big boys in the Finnish scene. But right now, Nyyrikki seems to be proving to be such an immovable obstacle. Against this team, Bluewhites just can't seem to find the definitive win. 1-1 in the season, remember. 2-1 in the winner's bracket match. It was a close one, but it's never quite enough. Nyyrikki always seem to be 1 step ahead, and today, honestly, I think their drafting has been very strong, and Bluewhites have looked a little confused, a little disjointed, as Exodus put it in that pre-game segment. You know, they have a lot of damage, they've got a decent amount of disengage, but there's not really that much frontline. We've seen them get into these big pitched battles, and Bad Pie just gets focused down. No one's to peel for him. Homo can get picked apart. Lastus has the mist to keep himself alive, to keep himself safe for a little, but isn't very far ahead. Doesn't have enough to do it all themselves. And they don't have the damage to follow it up just yet. Whereas Nyyrikki, they've got the damage and they've got the front line. The Trundle and the Leona from Abignale, even Bertoska on the Graves when he stats up that Grit, are really controlling a lot of space. And they are just pulling out bundles of damage. We now see the Rift Hail dropped into the mid lane. There's going to be a tower easily committed, but Pomo on the side has the Petrifying Gaze. He's pushed into stasis already, gets away from some of the damage, but there's the stun, the follow-up death room with the 2-man body slam. Lastus looking with the sips, finds 1, finds 2. Maybe Gwen is now it's time for them to step into the spotlight. Gets on top of Azator, but pushed away by the Satchel Charge in 3 versus 1 right now. There comes the stun. Surely they can't escape right here. The healing is huge, but it's not huge enough. Bad Pie comes soon, Desmond finds one, but oh my goodness, Wazen drops the Vanguard's edge and absolutely slices through Bluewhites. It's not enough to take the fight, but man, does it make it difficult. Wazen and Bad Pie with the healing. The 2 versus 1 is still gonna go the way of Bluewhites, and maybe there's life in the Blue Lions yet. They are not out of this game. Bad Pie now taking the opportunity to push this wave. Defrin taking the base. There is a Mountain Dragon coming up in a while. It doesn't do that much for Bluewhites, but it does enough for Nyyrikki that I think it's worth denying it. Badpie taking the recall, but he knows it's not safe right here. He's going to have the slow timing, doesn't have a TP of his own. He's not going to be back to the Dragon in time for a fight if that's what they choose to go to now. I think they may just have to give it up. Nyyrikki's going to have the numbers. They still have the gold lead. I think you just give this one away. Full river control for Nyyrikki here. They have no contest in this area. Bluewhites as well. Once again, making the right decision to concede the objective for now. But last game, it did get away from them. Last game, Nyyrikki found the soul. It was close. It was not a clean Infernal Soul take, but they ended up getting that objective, and it really proved pivotal to force their advantage and get them over the line to get that first win and keep the game snowballing in their favor. Bluewhites do not want to let that happen again. As I said, they have no more chances, but they're still so willing to fight, as we see. Badpie, Desrim, Lastis as well, Defrin especially in this series, is so ready to step up and put the team on his back, force the team fights, and try and make something happen. This is why we love to watch Bluewhites here in the Telia Esports Series Finland. They never go down easy. They are always looking for more. But Nyyrikki wants to force them going down right here. Badpie knows he has to go into this one. Gets one vital. Looks for two more. He's going to get the ultimate onto Flipper. And Abagnale's been stunned. Bluewhites with the faster rotation today. And Abagnale is going to be the second damage. Oh my goodness, the collateral damage plus the Mega Inferno Bomb. Send Bluewhites packing, but it's still 2 kills for none right there. This is the kind of plays they need to make if they want to get back in this game. Gold lead only down to 3k now. And we do see that Desrim has actually opted for the lethality build. We mentioned that in the draft as well. The often Sivir goes for the crit build, but against the Ziggs, when you're trying to play at range, you're trying to contest him on the skill shots, the Boomerang Blade with the Dusk Blade, with the Mirror Mana is devastating against the squishies. Azator, not a stitch of armor to be seen. If you look across their entire team, there is no armor at all. If Desrim, at this point in the game, with 2-item spike, it's not late game yet, if he finds those big Boomerang Blades, they could actually be massive in securing them wins in the team fights, which Bluewhites desperately need right now. Azator doesn't have any armor, yes, but look what he does have. He's got a Rabadon's Death Cap, he's got a fully stacked tier, and a Ludens. The burst coming out of this Ziggs is insane, and as soon as he gets that Seraphs, it's going to be even more so. They've gone onto the Baron right now. Nyyrikki trying to burst this down before a counterplay can be mounted by Bluewhites. Defrin has spotted it out, and the rest of Bluewhites are coming over. Badpie, though, doesn't have the TP, doesn't have the range. Desmond's down the side. Pomo doesn't get stunned up into the pick. Goes Lastis. Can he find it? Only 16k health. There goes down. Blue team picks it up. Flipper finds it, and Lastis goes as well, but Azator is going to go down to Pomo. This fight is still winnable for Bluewhites. They've got Nyyrikki pinned in the pit, but who's pinned in there with who? Ways and drops another ult. Defrin flies in. Badpie trying to find more. Desmond with the Boomerang Blades. Look at him gatekeeping the pit, throwing the Boomerang Blades, slicing off members of Nyyrikki, and it's another one team fight for Bluewhites. No Baron buffs secured for Nyyrikki. This game is really starting to deliver, everybody. This series is really starting to heat up. Nyyrikki just cannot find the clean win. Here's the replay of that fight. You see Defrin running interference, Pomo around the side. So critical he doesn't get caught here, or he could just go down. Lastis is still in the mist, cannot find the kill. That's fine, he did his best, but look at Desrim. He gets all the damage down to Azator, and Badpie flies in. Pomo forces them into the backline, still gets taken down by a lot of damage flung back by Nyyrikki, but Desrim, he's alive. He's healing up. He's got the Boomerang Blades. Defrin and Badpie holding on the mid lane. Out comes the Boomerang. Does so much damage. Takes out Patoshka. And now Badpie's biggest nemesis is off the table. And he can run rampant over that fight. Look at Desrim in these fights. He has to step up here. That's what he's been doing. And now it all falls onto Azator to do the same. He has got damage coming through once again. You see the needlessly large rod. It's going to be a Ceres before too long. In that fight, he had no defenses. He got caught up by Desrim. He got taken down, and that was it for him. He needs to stay safe. When you're in the Baron pit, It's not the easiest task, I will say that much. You're kind of crushed into a little space right there, but it's critical that they keep this Ziggs alive, because otherwise, Blue-Whites can take that win. Look at the gold lead, it's under 2k now. They are clawing and scratching and grasping their way back into this series to keep their Telia Masters hopes alive. And now we see Blue-Whites feeling a bit more confident in the side wave. Bad Pie's going to get this tower without too much trouble. Remember back to what Exodus said. As the game stretches on, Fiora starts to outperform the Graves in the side lane. Graves has the Eclipse, he's got lethality, does have big burst, absolutely. But Bad Pie, 5, 2, and 6, has 2 completed items of their own, almost 3. The Ravenous Hydrate will be done before too long, and it's already starting to turn the tides. Flipper looking to maybe catch out Lastus with the pillar, but dodges out from the bouncing bomb. Trundle takes a fair bit of damage to the background, but Lastus, you don't want to get stuck in there too far with the needlework. Oh my goodness, Flipper's already gone down. Look at the bomb exploding over Blue-Whites, and now Defrin's being caught out. Bad Pie, once again, he has to find it. He's got the grand challenge. He's healing up, but it is enough. Up goes the riposte. He gets 2. He gets the double kill. Bad Pie clutches it out once again. And Azator, this time, he's the last to live, not the first to die. But can he find the kills? Bad Pie takes a fat chunk of damage. Satchel charge over the wall. Azator desperately trying to find a way out of this pickle. Boomerang Blade slices off, does more damage. Pomo chasing them down. There's no way for you to escape with the flash. Boomerang Blade, the last skill shot lands. It's an ace for Blue-Whites. It's another one fight for them. The Baron is not available, but the Dragon certainly is, and maybe they can find more too. Pomo burning this down with the Cassiopeia, and Nyyrikki just seem to be crumbling a little bit. Wazen's trying his dangest. The Aurelia plays in this series would leave you speechless, but they always seem to be the only important thing going on in the fight. Wazen's doing a lot of work, but it's not enough on his own. Azator's getting good bomb damage, but it's just not enough to follow it up, whereas Blue-Whites have so much damage to bring to bear. Lastus burned through Flipper's almost entire health bar before that fight burned down. Desrim still doing so much work with the blades. Bad Pie, though, is going to find Wazen and drop the grand challenge. Look at the Fiora damage and the stun. This is not close. Steferin is here, Flipper is there, and now Bad Pie gets the godlike kill with the grand challenge, but Azator bursts them down. It wasn't close to begin with, but it gets pushed right back in the other direction, and Deferin running for his life. They get the 1-for-1, and Nyyrikki now, they've got to be happy with that. No longer are they expecting big wins in every fight. They've got to be happy with the trades. That does show the damage that Azator can bring with the ultimate. He's got 3.5 items working towards the Void Staff as well. He has the Blighted Crystal ready in his inventory. On the other side, Desrim also has 4 items completed, but that's the lethality build. It's cheaper, it's easier to get there, and it does fall off something fierce. At some point, Desrim's not going to matter as much. These Boomerang Blades are going to stop being as important if they're not hitting specifically Azator, and Azator only. Desrim's got to have perfect target selection as this game goes on. Who knows? Maybe he even starts buying some crit items and starts swapping out as it goes through. But I don't know. It's going to have to be up to him, and Blue-Whites are going to have to maybe try and finish the game before that becomes a problem, because oh my word, Azator with a Q and a W and an Arcane Comet does 80% of Desrim's HP. Maybe it's time for some magic resist, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe Blue-Whites need to start thinking about that. But it really feels bad, because there's so much AD from the side of Nyyrikki. They've got Lethality Graves and an Aurelia to contend with. I'm not actually sure what the damage split is for Aurelia. I imagine there's some magic damage in there somewhere, but really Azator is doing so much work. Drops the ultimate to force Pomo down to half, but to be honest, that doesn't seem to do too much at this stage. It's not a long cooldown, but just half healthing a Cassio when there's no objectives quite on the map doesn't seem to do much. Bad Pie is currently hanging out in the bot lane. He's looking for some plays, but gets instantly scoped out by the ward right there, and Patoska's going to know what's up. Does have the TP, but if Nyyrikki want to try and make some plays on the top side, maybe try and force a Baron, he could be dragged up to help his team. Bad Pie is way more important to his team than Patoska now is, and I think Nyyrikki have to try and exploit that and force him to come and join his team, or the fights are not going to start going so well. Now, Blue-Whites, once again on the aggression. Deferin stepping up with this AP Gragas build that has been doing so much work in this game. They take away the red, they're controlling the space, they have a lot of vision. Look at the waves, the fields of red vision in that jungle. Blue side barely holding on to their own jungle, but the important areas, the rivers, the objectives, deep wards in the jungle, Blue-Whites have control right now, and they've got the Petrifying Gaze. They've got the Body Slam. The few ways that they have to start a fight really play well around the vision, and this is what they need to do. Right now, Nyyrikki, they're trying to push up, they're trying to contest it, and Blue-Whites have to give up the ground for now, but Bad Pie's already gone back to base. Looks like Nyyrikki, they want to start up this Baron once again. They've started to push forward on it, and now they're going to force the issue. Bad Pie running from base, Batoshka in the bot lane has the TP. Blue-Whites need some vision. They've dropped the pink. In comes Bad Pie with an early teleport. Batoshka's back in the base, and doesn't need to commit it. He's going to hold on to his summoner right here. Bad Pie loses theirs. This could be critical for the late game side lane play, as now Nyyrikki, they got what they wanted. They just head right back home, but Desrim, he's going to capitalize, picks up the mid lane tower as well, keeping the gold advantage for Blue-Whites, meaning they do at least get something. And now the next on the ticket is the Mountain Drake. It's not soul for anybody, but it is still useful. Bad Pie going up to match Wazen. We've seen that Bad Pie is basically uncontestable right now in this game. No one can match the Fiora, and I think Bad Pie knows that. Gets the parry. The double TP committed from Nyyrikki. If Bad Pie can get out of this one without losing anything, that's his one TP on the Dragon. Traded for two just for a side lane play. Bad Pie doing the work and get so much out of Nyyrikki, and now they know they have to commit for the fight. Pomo TPing in as well. If he and Desrim can stay safe, maybe they can wreak havoc like last time, but Abagnale looking for the kill, looking for the pick. He wants to find the ultimate. He's got the stun, but Lastus is already in, and Abagnale is trying to finish this off. Pomo goes into stasis. Desrim desperately trying to control the space and control and save his Cassio, but Bad Pie's already down on the backside. Blue-White's critical member. The team fight falls apart without Bad Pie, and now Desrim's fallen as well. It's 1,000 shutdown for Azator. And Nyyrikki, they split the team of Blue-Whites apart. They've got the TP into the base for Wazen. This could be it. All of a sudden, 3 dead. It could be about to fall apart for Blue-Whites right here. This is so tough for them. They've got the turret down already. Blue-Whites, Lastus and Deferin need to do everything right now. They need to hold the line. They don't even have any ultimates. It's 2v5. Nyyrikki, you're right on the cusp of it. Deferin flies in, but gets absolutely eviscerated. And Lastus, even in the mist, can do nothing. Not even a Season 11 champion can save you now, Blue-Whites. And Nyyrikki, they take the series 2-0. They smash down the challenge from Blue-Whites once again, and they will punch their ticket to the Telia Masters. Let's take a little replay of this last Baron fight, this critical fight. Pomo, look at his HP. He's pushed out of the fight instantly, and Bad Pie knows that it's all on him, but nobody else can follow up. In the 3 versus 4, or the 3 versus 1 that it was, not even Fiora can get it all done, and with Pomo already out of the fight, it's just too split for Blue-Whites. Nyyrikki, they find the engage onto Pomo, they have the critical catch there, and Bad Pie feels like there's too much for him to do, and in the end, that turns out to be the case. He did so much work for them in this game, kept them in it long after they could have been foregone. But Blue-Whites in the end, they do get picked apart in that final fight. Nyyrikki proving why they are so lauded in this region, why they were expected to top the charts at the beginning, and now that is going to be it sewn up. They are going into the finals with Deft Fox to try and get some revenge after that winners finals debacle that happened just previously. So we are going to be joined here by delicious, wonderful, attractive Weeb Exodus on the side there. Unfortunately, he did not return. He was lightning struck into oblivion at his place. They did not manage to get the power back on. But honestly, it was a very fun series to cast over. Even if it's done on my own, I am sweating just as much as I imagine Nyyrikki were trying to get that win. If we had to maybe touch on something like an MVP very quickly, probably it would have to be Azator. The Ziggs, I feel, was so important in just forcing through the damage in that second game. And obviously when he had the Callista in his hands game 1, it was a spectacle. It was magnificent. You all saw it. It was something to behold. But another option might be Abagnale. You know, the engages on Rakan and that final critical catch onto Pomo did come from Abagnale on the Leona. So It's gonna be a tough one, honestly. I think if I had to think it through, maybe I would give it to Abagnale. I think that was super important, and Azator did have some times where he did get caught out in that last game, whereas Leona was fighting for the win and got that critical game-winning play. So let's give my completely unofficial play-by-play, not even a color, literally gold one. I don't know what I'm talking about. MVP for the series to Abagnale, and another congrats to Nyyrikki. It's consolation for Blue Whites. This season was their best performance to date, but it still wasn't enough just yet. They're going to have to come back next year to fight to try and top the charts in Finland. Nyyrikki go on to face DevFox in the final, and we are going to be seeing that, I believe, tomorrow is when that will be scheduled. Monday, I've just been told, I think by production in my ear. So come back to the Square One channel for the English stream of the finals. DevFox versus Nyyrikki for first place in the Telia Esports Series Finland. You do not want to miss it. I know I will be there, and I hope you all are too. My name has been Trajan. It's been an exhausting afternoon, but it's been a banger of a series to cast. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the future.
We were born from light.